بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. لله تبارك وتعالى. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. I praise Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. I thank Him Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His countless endowments, and I ask Him to raise the rank and the status of Sayyidina Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his family, his companions, and all those who follow them in excellence until the day of judgment. And I ask Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala to grant us the sincere intention. And that is the intention to draw close to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in status, to earn the reward for those deeds that we do outwardly and inwardly from Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, to get the acceptance or earn the acceptance of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, and to ultimately to get to know Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. With those noble intentions, we proceed. So I wanted to, as I mentioned last night, have some reflections on last night's Black Imams round table. Because on the round table, sometimes we don't get to cover everything we want to convey. Sometimes the flow of the round table doesn't match sometimes some of the points that we want to convey. Because the round table is not really an academic setting. The round table is more like edutainment, Islamic edutainment. That's how I look at the round table. It's not designed for us to have serious, in-depth research and an academic approach to the subjects we're talking about. Rather, it's more like a conversation between family and friends about serious topics in a lighthearted manner. That's how I see the round table. A conversation between family and friends about serious topics in a lighthearted manner. So there you're going to have some jokes, some off the cuff conversations, but we're still talking about and discussing the subject. And there's no formality to it. It's just like, yo, we kicking it, so we talking. It's no structure in terms of you got to be like this and this part here, and then take one and take two. No, it's just go for it. Real people having real conversation. So in that type of environment, it's not suitable for like academic study or research or in-depth conversation. It's not that kind of setting. Have y'all noticed that? Have y'all noticed this type of environment on the round table? So with that being the case, the subject still is serious, and it requires sometimes a little extra discussion free from the relaxed environment of the round table. So they have a saying, fi kulli maqamin maqal, that in every situation there's the appropriate speech. So I want to take this to a little bit more of a thoughtful, more serious discussion about establishing foundations. And I want to say from the beginning that this is a response to several ideas that I see being pushed to some of those people who attend the 3453 gatherings, or those who may be a part of our 3453 family. I want you to write something, if you will engage me, as a rule that I would like all of us who consider themselves dedicated followers of the 3453 family and their methodology. I want you to write something for me. If it doesn't apply to you, I'm really not talking to you. So I'm talking to the one who's really, I'm 3453. Usually that one is says Assalamu alaikum 3453 family or 34. So that's the one I'm talking to directly. Those are people who I'm down. I'm with y'all. Others, they just may like us, and that's okay too, right? Or they might just want to see when we make a mistake. That's okay too. But I'm directly talking to those who consider themselves as, yo, I'm with them. What they doing, I support it. What I want you to write is, don't explore until you are a skilled traveler. Can we put that up? Don't explore until you are a skilled traveler. I'm gonna wait till one of us put that up so we all copy and paste it. Don't explore until you are a skilled traveler. Can we copy and paste that? Don't explore until you are a skilled traveler. And what I mean by that, if you're not a skilled traveler, you don't know the landscape, the pitfalls and dangers of the trip, you can hurt yourself. And by way of analogy, when you have this, let me learn from all views, and you don't have a sound view, a sound foundation, you can hurt yourself religiously. And there is a new madhab developing. Y'all ready? There's a new madhab developing. What is that new madhab? It's the madhab of leave off the established madhabs and follow my madhab. That's the new madhab. Leave off the established madhabs and follow my madhab. And what is that madhab? It's my mixture, my special potion of all the madhabs mixed together as I see them. So it is called really the madhab of vain desires. And this is being pushed on that unskilled traveler in Islamic knowledge. So you got these guys, and I know them because I seen them. No names need to be mentioned because there are more than one. They go learn from this teacher with this methodology. They learn from this teacher with this methodology. They learn from this teacher with this methodology. This teacher with this methodology. They travel overseas to do that too. They don't just do it in America. They go to Egypt, they'll go to, Syria, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Morocco, South Africa, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, all over the place. And they collect all this stuff together. Then they come back and everybody calls them sheikh. And then they tell everybody, this is how you avoid sectarianism. You need to do what I did. And usually they are a mess, and so is everyone who listens to them, without none of them realizing it. And let me tell you something about that, just before I get to the subject, because I'm hitting this one. A lot of those people, the teachers they studied with don't even know them. The teachers they claim to study with don't even know them. What they did is they went in general sessions. They sat in general sessions, so they were there. And then they just narrate from here and there and there and there. But none of those teachers actually approved of their methodology. In fact, those teachers didn't even know you were doing what you're doing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do y'all got this point? This is the new game. And this is what happens. And then that person would tell the unskilled traveler how to navigate the journey of seeking knowledge. A disaster waiting to happen. And it's facilitated on the internet because on the internet, anybody can be whoever they want, including me. All of us can be whoever we want to be. You want to be Sheikh al-Islam, you Sheikh al-Islam. All you have to do is open up your platform, speak, and I guarantee you someone's going to take you serious. Right? Whether you're right, wrong, or indifferent, doesn't matter. Somebody is going to take you serious. And if you're crafty enough with your marketing, with your advertising, with your effects, with your attaching yourself to people, that will grow. I know that personally because a lot of times I get offers to join those type of people. And believe me, I have people telling me you should join them. What you listening to, bro? Right? Seriously? You just suggested that I do that? But I'm telling you, you get extra followers, people could learn the truth because you was over there and they would listen to you. And then I said, but what about the other ones who want to listen to that other nonsense? What about that part? Did you ever consider that? So while I'm over here trying to steal followers, what about sincere learners that's going to pick up that nonsense because I'm in the middle of it? Did you ever consider that part? I mean, or you was only thinking from the side of what you're going to add, not what you're going to destroy? Did you ever think of that? Give it some consideration. So having firm foundations is extremely important. And you have to stick to a methodology until you become firm in it. And the firmness in that methodology doesn't come from you. It comes from teachers that you actually learn from, right? The teacher tells you that you understand well, right? Someone who is an experienced traveler tells you you understand the map and you're qualified to take the journey because you know the pitfalls, right? And each and every one of us have to give ourselves that time. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, إنما العلم بالتعلم. That knowledge is acquired by learning, which is a process of teacher-student. It's a relationship. Al-alim wal-muta'allim. They both go together. And we have whole books in our tradition that deals and speaks about this relationship between the teacher and the student. And that is a required relationship in order to attain the ability to be a skilled traveler on the path of knowledge. That's a must. Without it, you're setting yourself up for failure. So, my advice to all of us is to take some time to those teachers you learning from, they approve of you. Before you even think about navigating somewhere else, where you're at, make sure the teachers that you learning from, those ones you listening to, that they actually approve of you. They have did some kind of examination of what you understand, and they agreed with you. Doesn't mean you're a scholar. It just means someone's, said you do know what you're talking about. I'm not saying you're the sheikh of the land now. I'm just saying you understand, right? And you can actually convey. So sometimes, and some of you notice, when we be talking, I start asking you questions. Explain that. Repeat it. Say it again. Let me hear you say that. What am I doing? I'm trying to ensure that you actually know what you're talking about. I'm not putting you on the spot. You know why? And you saw it happen like twice yesterday. Somebody comes on and they're talking in the comments. I'll be like, I'll give you the link. Come on, let's talk. You know why I never hesitate? Because I actually know what I'm talking about. I do have a base of the conversation I'm having. I'm not saying I'm a master of it, but I do have a sound, firm, foundational base on what I'm talking about. So it doesn't matter if someone is contradicting that or don't understand it and need clarification. I'm able to do that with complete confidence, right? Why? Because I've been checked. I've actually been checked. Those people who I acquired those firm foundations from actually checked me to make sure that you understand. And let's take this at the foundational level. We're not talking about details, just the foundational level. I'm 100% sure that I can convey to you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists without a place. I don't have a problem with that. I could do it textually, I could do it intellectually, I could do it multiple kind of ways, I could do it with books, I could do it with scholars, I could do it. And I don't need to prepare. I could do it from my mind. Why? Not because I'm special, because someone taught me and they trained me and they checked me and they made sure I understood, right? I can explain why we are Ashari or Maturidi and why that's Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Who said it? What's the evidences? What books? What scholars? Give me the intellectual reasons for that. I could do all that. Why? Because someone taught me. I was trained. They taught me how to travel the road. And they made sure that I could explain that. And that's what we all need to do when we're seeking Islamic knowledge. I didn't say you have to be a scholar. I never made that claim. Stop thinking you're going to be a scholar. That's going to take a lifetime for most of us. And we probably still won't get there because the problem is we don't know what a scholar is. So that's why we say it so loosely. You don't have to be a scholar to know what you're talking about. Can we put that up? You don't have to be a scholar to know what you're talking about. Can we put that up? You don't have to be a scholar to know what you're talking about. I want to drill that in our minds. You don't have to be a scholar to know what you're talking about. So don't make the cop out, I'm not a scholar. We already know that. You're not saying nothing smart. But do you know what you're talking about? Whether you're a scholar or not, you don't have to be. Do you know what you're talking about? I'm not a professional race car driver either, but I can drive up the street and I drive home and back every day and I travel all around the country, but I'm not a professional race car driver. But I do know how to get where I'm going from A to Z. Why? I was trained. Someone taught me how to drive. Someone taught me how to read signs. Someone taught me how to read a map. I don't need a GPS. I can still get where I'm going without a GPS. I actually know how to read a map. I actually know directions, north, south, east, west. I actually know numbers and roads and signs. I know the difference from an interstate highway to a local street to an expressway to a parkway. I actually know the difference. No, I'm not being sarcastic. Really, someone taught me. And we all have learned these things. The same concept in Islam. It doesn't change. The same concept. The same concept. So the question you ask yourself is, did you actually learn before you start exploring? Right? So with that said, that's me setting the stage. So when these people are walking around talking about don't be a sectarian, that is a trigger word. And it only works for the uneducated and the untrained. I'm not sectarian. I'm all over the place. Oh, okay. You need to be sectarian, especially you, right? For the at least at this stage, please be sectarian. You, because your concept of I'm not sectarian, so I'm all over the place is a mess. So just for the minute, till you get some firm foundations, you be sectarian. It's okay. We accept from you. Maybe someone more advanced, we want them to be different. But you, sectarian, please. Right? Start somewhere with some foundational principles to build on. Do y'all understand this point? I'm really asking a question because you know me, I have conversations. I'm not just talking. Do all of you follow me? Any questions about what I said so far? Because this, I wish they had this platform like a classroom. This would be nice, where we could all be there and we could just like it's still in the same open form, but we can actually just kick it, right? Because we don't have to hide behind the camera. I don't get to hide. I don't know why you do, right? Not fair. Not fair. I'm out front and you get to hide. You can just type and talk junk and hide behind your names and fake names and all that. And I got to be right out front. Not fair. You should take it just like I do, right? So good. So we got to understand it. Let me answer the question. So you know some of this is on YouTube. So some of you can't see the question, so I put it up. Let me make sure. I don't even know what the other side looks like. So do y'all see that question from the ones on Facebook? Do see y'all see that question from YouTube? Can y'all see the question on the screen? Everyone can see the question. So sometimes we get these YouTube, like the brother poor nobody. They made him a somebody yesterday. Guys, man, excuse me. Sometimes we get into having fun. You know, we all of us, myself, Imam Naeem, Imam Fahim, we all was in the university at one time. So we still, even though we imams, you know, we still got our culture. And you know, sometimes in the university, we be clowning. You know what I mean? So excuse us. Give us, it may not be the best manners and behaviors, but overlook us sometimes because sometimes we digress and we relapse and we go in and we have fun. And we don't mean no harm. We call it back in the day, say we jailing, right? You know, we jailing, man. It ain't personal, man. You get enrolled today. That's just how I go. And anyone who been in those universities understand that works. This today you get enrolled out. It's not personal, but you getting it. So sometimes may Allah improve our states, but we do it, right? So nobody we apologize. Or I'll apologize for them if they don't apologize. We didn't mean no harm. But he was on YouTube. That's what I mentioned him. He was on YouTube, and sometimes you don't see it. So I put the comment up. And when I put the comment up, remember, it's people on YouTube, it's people on uh, Instagram or X, whatever that is, and it's people on Facebook, and they don't always see. So only way they see you is I put the comment. So when I put your comment, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. It's just so everyone can see what I'm talking about. So with that, why is Ashari and Maturidi so important in our day and age? Okay, now I'm going to deal with this several ways. Number one, the question you're asking me is an opinion. It's not a stated fact because you asking me why is something important. I'm going to answer that based on the extent of my understanding, right? If you wanted someone else's understanding, the question would be rephrased, why does so-and-so believe Ashari and Maturidi so important in our day and age? So you asking me, so I'm going to tell you why I think. Simple. Follow me. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us إنما العلم بالتعلم, that knowledge is acquired by learning. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, فضل العالم على العابد كفضلي على أدناكم, that the superiority of the scholar, the learned scholar, over the worshiper is like my superiority over the least of you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء, that those who truly fear Allah are the scholars. The Prophet ﷺ also mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not take the knowledge by snatching it from the people. Rather, he takes the knowledge by the death of the scholars. And when they die, the people take unlearned people for leaders, they ask them questions and they give answers which are incorrect, of course, and they lead themselves and others astray. Imam Muslim related in the introduction of his Sahih Muslim, a section that Imam An-Nawawi made those titles in his explanation about the sanad al-isnadu min ad-din, the chain of narration is part of the religion. And he related a statement, Imam Muslim, with his chain of narrators to the great follower Muhammad ibn Sirin, which Muhammad ibn Sirin, he said, إن هذا العلم دين فانظروا عمن تأخذون دينكم. Verily, this knowledge that you're learning is the religion. So look well from whom you take your religion. Verily, this knowledge is the religion. So look well from whom you take your religion. Then Imam Muslim relates another statement from one of the Salaf whose name was Abdullah ibn Mubarak, who was a great scholar of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah before Imam Bukhari and Muslim. He is senior to them. He said that the chain of narration, al-isnad, which is that student-teacher relationship, when the Prophet said, إِنَّمَا الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمِ, that ta'allum has an alim al-muta'alam, has a sheikh and a tilmid, right? This is the nature of it. One learns from another, then that one conveys to another. So that's the sanad, that's the chain of narration. He said that the chain of narration is from the religion. Without that chain of narration, then anyone can say whatever they want. When you look at those statements and many, many more, it tells you how we are to learn our religion. And when we're talking about our religion, there are various aspects and sciences that make up the totality of the deen. Among them is ilm al-aqidah, the science of the creed, ilm al-tawheed, ilm al-usul al-din, ilm al-kalam, call it whatever you want, right? That science that deals with, or that field of study that deals with what we're supposed to believe as Muslims, that knowledge is like every other knowledge in terms of how we receive it. How do we acquire that knowledge? It is through those chains of narration of teacher to teacher to teacher to teacher to teacher in a trustworthy, unbroken manner back to the person who codified that science, and ultimately from that person back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If our time, in our time, our day and age, if we wanted to ensure that the issues of the creed were conveyed in that manner to the best of our human capacity, there is no other way in Islam that is more well documented globally and historically than the madhabs of Imam al-Ash'ari and Imam al-Maturidi. Around the world, globally, throughout the ages, historically, the madhab of Imam al-Ash'ari and the madhab of Imam Maturidi has been the standard bearer since the beginning of the 4th century Hijrah to today, that's over 1,100 years of continuous transfer of knowledge from teacher to student to teacher to student to teacher to student till it reached us. And the Muslim nation has agreed upon that by the overwhelming majority of those who consider themselves Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. And anyone who departed from that has been in the minority throughout time and age. So if I'm from my side in our day and time, I want to learn the beliefs. I'm going to learn the closest I can to that structured system that has been the system of learning of Sunni Muslims from the time of the Prophet ﷺ down to our day. To me, that's why it's important. Other than that, anyone can say what they want. And I'm not necessarily saying they're wrong in all those things. I'm just saying this is a well-trodden path, thought out generation of generation by the best that of Islamic scholarship that this deen had to offer in every time, in every age, in every place. I'm going to leave that for something that wasn't well trodden, that had issues, that the majority of Muslims have criticized. For me, that don't make sense. I'm from Atlantic City. If I'm going to Philadelphia, or I'm going to New York, or I'm going to DC, right? I do travel those roads, so anyone from the East Coast, you'll follow me. If you're from Atlantic City, or if you're from Philadelphia and you're trying to Atlantic City, or Atlantic City to Philadelphia, let's give an example. Are you going to take the Black Horse Pike, the White Horse Pike, or the Expressway 90% of the time? That's a question for local people. So everybody in Philadelphia or the surrounding areas, South Jersey towards Philadelphia or Pittsburgh or wherever you from, that you got to come through Philadelphia to get to Atlantic City, or you from Atlantic City in the areas around here and you're going to Philadelphia. Are you going to take the Black Horse Pike, which will get you to Philadelphia, the White Horse Pike, which will get to you to Philadelphia, or you're going to take the Expressway 99% of the time? I'm coming to you, Bouchon. I'm going to New York too, right? If you're going to New York, depending where you're going to come from, are you going to take Route 9 or are you going to take the Parkway? Are you going to take 206 or are you going to take the New Jersey Turnpike? That's a question. We're traveling. We talked about traveling. Which one you going to take? We're trying to go to New York. You want me to take Route 9, 1 and 9 all the way to New York, or you want me to take the Parkway? And if I'm up the other side of South Jersey, do you want me to take 206 or do you want me to take the Parkway? Or 295? Or what? You're going to want me to take a main road that is well traveled, that's designed for long distance travel. You're not going to take me to take the local road unless there's a traffic problem or something we got to get over there. Other than that, we're not driving on that road. And if someone leaves off that road and say, we're going to New York, but I'm going to take Route 9 all the way up, then I'm going to get in 1 and 9 in Jersey City, then I'm going to cut over to the Turnpike, then we're going to New York. You're going to look at me like I'm crazy. You're going to be like, Amin Muhammad has just lost it. What the heck are you doing? Could you please jump on the Parkway? That's what you're going to say. Take the Parkway to the Turnpike and then take one of the tunnels, Holland Tunnel or Lincoln Tunnel, and we in New York. If we going to Queens or Brooklyn, get off, take the Belt Parkway. We're not going local traffic because we're going to expose ourselves to so much on the local traffic, right? The madhabs, Ashari and Maturidi and Akida, are those highways that we travel all the time. I'm not saying you can't get there another route, but who travels that and why? For what? Just to be different. And expose yourself to traffic jams, lights, racist police officers, because you're going through towns where they say, "What you doing here, boy?" Right? Why go through all that when you just ride the highway and you're right there? You're trying to get to your destination in the quickest way, the safest way, the most convenient way possible. That's why you have the expressway. That's why you have the interstate. So all that's is an analogy for you to make it clear. The Ashari school, the Maturidi school, we're talking about in Aqidah, is that highway. That's why I think it's important. So we don't have all these sidetracked and expose yourself to dangers in the creed when this is a well thought out, well traveled, well paved, convenient route to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and what he believed. Is that answer sufficient for you, Umar? That's my answer. And I could go in, I gave you Quran, I gave you Hadith, I gave you rational examples. I don't know what you need. Does it make sense? Even if you disagree, does it make sense? 1 second. So I don't believe the religion needs to be reinterpreted. I don't believe that. I believe things need to be contextualized, but not reinterpreted. There's a difference. This is me. Give me that old time religion. That's what black folks used to sing in the church house. Give me that old time religion. I want that old time deen. If it was good enough for Imam Nawawi, it's good enough for me. If it was good enough for Al-Qurtubi, it's good enough for me. If it was good enough for As-Subki, it's good enough for me. If it was good enough for Ibn Asakir, it's good enough for me. If it was good enough for Al-Bayhaqi, it's good enough for me. You understand what I mean? If it was good enough for Ash-Shafi'i, it's good enough for me. That's where I'm at with it. But if you want to take the Route 9 and you want to have an authority and, approach and go for it. I hope you don't get robbed, right? And I hope you don't get pulled over by a tobacco chewing cousin who's looking to catch his quota and you the one. Good luck. I mean, I hope but I'm taking expressway. You go ahead and I meet you there when you get there about 3 hours later, right? But I'm not doing that. But if that's what you want to do and you think that's safe and you smart and you can navigate all that, go for it. If you get my point. Okay. Wow, man, this went fast. I ain't even get to my point yet. Because this is a long conversation. And it involves a lot of thinking. So now, let me lay down some foundations because this is going to take a while. So I think I'm going to be on this for a minute because I'm looking at the time and I don't want to take too much of your time. So I got to just keep continuing and take piece by piece. So when we look at the deen, al-Islam, we got to look at a structure. We got to find somewhere to start, right? The best place to start are the foundational things in the religion. They become the thing we should work on first. How do we know that? It's from the Quran and the Sunnah. So Allah mentioned in the Quran that Allah, the messenger, believed in what was revealed to him from his Lord, as do the believers. All of them believe in Allah, his messengers, his books, right? Foundational things. Right? Foundational things. The famous in the hadith is the hadith of Jibril that was related by Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Muslim, right? Where the Prophet ﷺ indicated that Jibril came to teach our religion, and he asked about al-Islam and al-Iman and al-Ihsan. And our scholars, who we learn with those continuous chains of transmission, that's never out of the question. They said that Islam is an indication to al-fiqh. Al-Iman is an indication to al-Aqidah. Al-Ihsan is an indication to at-Tasawwuf. This is well known in our books of our scholars, globally and historically. All of them who are the major Ash'ari, Maturidi scholars, they all said the same thing, right? So these are primary sciences: al-Aqidah, al-Fiqh, and at-Tasawwuf. Al-Aqidah, the science of the creed and belief, so you know what you're supposed to believe. Al-Fiqh, the science of the practical rules, so you know what you're supposed to do. At-Tasawwuf, Sufism, the science of spirituality and becoming knowledgeable of Allah, and it's so you know how to be. You know what to believe, you know what to do, you know how to be. Those are the primary sciences. In those primary sciences, so that's the science itself, that's the field of study itself, creed, the field of study of practice, the field of study of state and stations of the heart and the nafs and the soul, how we should be. That's our religion. No one disagrees with that, right? Am I correct? None of y'all disagree with that, right? So when I say no one disagrees, anyone who knows anything about Islam knows that's part of our religion. These are the primary sciences of our religion. And everything else we learn so we can do that, right? We only learn Arabic to do that, because we learn Arabic to read the Quran and the Hadith, and we read the Quran and the Hadith to do those things. So these are the primary sciences, right? Everything else are tools to do something. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So we need to learn that. We need to become experienced travelers in navigating that. So we do have to learn Aqidah. Now, as a slight diversion from that, so we got those three things, right? We got the science of al-Aqidah, which is the belief, al-fiqh, which is the practice, and at-tasawwuf, which is the spirituality. Can we copy that, everyone? So these are the primary things we need to start with. We need an understanding of, we can't even go on the travel. We can't even go on a trip if we don't got this, right? So this is a must-have. No traveling without this, right? There is no traveling the path of knowledge without these things. So can we all copy that? At least we know what we're talking about here, where we're going to learn. And this is for beginners. This ain't advanced stuff, because we all beginners, no matter how advanced we think. And reason why I say we all beginners, because we never got this stuff right in the first place, right? So we got to get this right. Most of us, to be honest, never learned this stuff properly in the first place. But, somebody lied to us and told us we advanced. So we skipping the basics. Man, I'm advanced. I'm shit. I'm not new. Yes, you are. I'm not a beginner. Yes, you are. You just don't know you're a beginner. You are a beginner. And if you stop being so arrogant for 1 minute, you will discover you are a beginner. Yeah, we do realize that, right? We all beginners. And if we stop being arrogant for 1 minute, we will actually realize we beginners. We ain't learned properly. Not our fault. They don't make us bad people. It wasn't given to us, right? I've been Muslim 20 years. You talking about joker? I ain't no beginner. Yes, you are. And it ain't because you don't know Arabic. That ain't it. You never even learned the primary sources of the deen. It don't got nothing to do with your Arabic. Nothing at all. That ain't it. Before you even get to that, you need to learn some foundational things that you never learned. Right? So that's all of us. Listen, when I say all of us, I'm included in that us. No arrogance, no claims. We all still a beginner. There's levels of beginners, yes, but we all beginners. There's levels. Some beginners are more advanced, right? In the same classroom, some people are more advanced than other students. They're at the same level. All of them in the kindergarten. Some kindergartners are higher than others, right? But they're all in the kindergarten. We don't say that this guy's a professor. He's in the kindergarten, but he's smarter than the other people in the class, right? Y'all follow me? So let's drop our egos. And if we drop our egos, it's much easier for us to have real dialogue. When there's no ego involved, we can have a much better conversation. When we all realize we beginners, so that means when you say you're a beginner, you already know with that, there are a lot of things you don't know, right? So it doesn't bother you to be mistaken. I'm a beginner. I'm supposed to be mistaken. I took my son to martial arts. He's 4 years old, right? And the instructor, he said, I don't care how good the kid is. I just want to know that he can follow instructions and he can develop. I don't care how good he is. That doesn't bother me. I'm not impressed. I want to know, can he follow instructions and can he progress? If the kid can do that, I want him. I don't care about his skill right now. That's not what I'm worried about. Only skill I want, that he know how to follow instructions and he's willing to progress. If he got those two skills, the rest is, I can handle that. Right? So for us, Can we follow instructions? Like stay in our grades? Right? Right. Okay. So those basic sciences. In those sciences, you have foundational things and detailed branches. Foundational aspects, let's say foundational principles. In Arabic, we call them al-usul. These are foundational principles. That's usul. And al-furu', detailed branches. Right? So in all of those sciences, you have foundational principles of that field of study. These issues are foundational issues, right? And then these issues, they're also a part of the field of study, but they're detailed branches. That means they don't take precedence over the foundational points, but they're added to it to detail the study of the science. Everyone got that? So the foundational things you must know, and then you're going to learn those detailed branches in everything we're talking about. Is that clear? I'm building something for you to show you how to think and then how to study. And right? Those foundational and branches in any of those sciences, the way they reached us, the sources by which we know about them, or are either definitive or probable. The way they reached us and them as a source of evidence are either what we call al-qat'i or no, I should use or. They are either al-qat'i or al-dhanni. Al-qat'i means definitive, or al-dhanni, probable. You can use other words. These are words I choose to use. Which means the way we got that information, it's a definitive way it reached us, or it could be definitive as an evidence for something, or it's probable the way it reached us, or it's probable as an evidence, and various combinations of that. The point I want you to get, something, the way we got it is either definitive, qat'i, or it's dhanni, right? Probable. Are y'all following me with that? Because I'm going to stop here and we'll come back later. Did everyone follow that? Because we're trying to travel. So we need to get some things clear before we even start. Right? And if you don't understand this, you're just going to be a parrot. And you'll never really be able to research because you don't even know what you're researching. So it's important in a way for us to understand certain things, foundational things, so we know how to travel. Right? Now, let me say this. Normally, when you learn, you don't have to learn all this because you come as a student, you shut your mouth and you sit with the teacher and you learn. We don't do that. right? We don't do that. We come with cups that runneth over with nonsense. And we put that in the face of trained, qualified teachers, and we say, man, give me your Dalil. I read, I heard, I thought. That's not a student, that's a teacher, right? So why are you here, right? I mean, like, you are the teacher, not a student. That's a teacher who does that. So you got it all backwards from the beginning. You're going, I'm coming to learn, but you're teaching. I thought you was here to learn. You're teaching, you're not learning. You already understand. And you're explaining to the teacher who you're coming to learn from what you understand. Well, why don't you open your own school? Why are you here? Doesn't make sense. That's our approach, though. So, therefore, in order for most of us, many of us, I won't say most, many of us to get back into our status as a student, the teacher has to show us that we're not qualified teachers. So we can go back to being a student so he can actually teach us. So the whole thing gets reversed. So as an added step, you can't just teach someone. First, you got to teach them that they need to be taught. Then you can teach them after they realize that they need to be taught. It makes sense? Because you can't teach someone who thinks he knows already. Can't do it. He has to be willing to learn in order for you to teach him. Okay. So that's where I'm going to stop. Go ahead, fire away with your questions if you don't. I'm going to stop there because I'm going to detail this. But I need to build, and I already was an hour, so I don't want you 2 hours listening to me ramble on. I think this is a point. You got something to start, and you got something to look forward to. And please memorize what I'm telling you. It's not a lot. You can do it. There's some basic stuff that you should already know if you think about it. So that wasn't really detailed. That's just, us talking. And then there are some technical things, a few technical points that I want you to understand, and we can continue our conversation. All right, fire away with your questions, and I'll answer to the best of my ability. So I answered Omar, that's no longer needed. Furqan, when we learn this route that you're teaching, how do we incorporate that knowledge in our daily life and Islamic struggle and movement, and not only in America, but Black America specifically? First, we have to learn. Once we learn, then we contextualize our learning to our reality, right? So we need to learn the deen. Let me tell you honestly, and Furqan, me and you talk about this all the time. Movement is great. We had a lot of movements in the Black community in the name of Islam. The problem is there wasn't an adequate amount of learning, especially foundational principle things. Therefore, the movement always fell because it's a movement that's not built on sound knowledge. That's our problem. And from experience, I talk to leaders of the movement, and they don't have that kind of knowledge. Not because they're not intelligent. They're very smart people. They didn't have access to knowledge, so they don't have it. And they have a saying in Arabic, the one who doesn't have a thing can't give it. Don't make you a bad person. You actually smart. And if you were given the knowledge, you could actually do more of the movement. So that's how we do it. We learn first. That doesn't mean we neglect living life. We got to live. But we realize that movement doesn't supersede learning. We have to learn properly. We have to learn what we need to do and then base our movement on sound knowledge and experience with our on-the-ground reality and merge the two. Does it make sense? That's the challenge. But what happens off the time, we have extremes. I just want to learn and I don't do nothing. That's a problem. I just want to learn, but I don't want to do any movement. I don't want to struggle. I don't want to work. I don't want to build. I just want to be a sheikh. Okay, sheikh, we got to live too. We have challenges in the world that we're facing, sheikh. Somebody got to do that work, right? So that's one aspect. The other extreme, man, we don't got time talking about that stuff. We got to be building. Yeah, but you ignorant. How you going to build anything? You don't even know the rules. Most of the stuff you might be doing is haram. You missing conditions. You doing everything backwards. We got to learn too. We do need to do that. You're right, but we got to learn. It's got to be a joining of the two. You follow? So that's my honest feeling from experience, because I've been in movements and I'm a movement type of guy. I dedicated my whole youth to movements. And when I look back, I'm like, it was ignorant. Nobody learned the religion. We didn't learn the religion. We did movement. I mean, we did a lot of movement. I don't know a movement existing today that did what we did, right? But we was ignorant and it all fell apart. So, I mean, we can, I'm telling you, we did movement, real movement, built for our own business, money, millions of dollars worth of movement, but ignorant. So it's all gone now because we didn't have no knowledge. We didn't even know halal from haram. We was just on movement. Black man, build, black man, money, business, real estate. We're doing our stuff. No knowledge. Gone. Done. Bad akida. Bad fiqh. No tasawwuf. We're just a mess. But we was building. We was on movement. Couldn't tell us about that. So if you get my point. Hey, you got another question. Oh, I just answered that. Okay, so that was my answer. Same question. Allah. I have a question. Is there any plans to do an Islamic school in Atlantic City or outside, or is there a program to teach Muslims to become teachers and da'wah workers to become responsible teachers? We need money for that. We always have the plan, but we're underfinanced and under-resourced, right? Because we, like going back to what Furqan said, you want, and this is our problem as a people, you want maximum output with minimum to no input. Can we put this up? This is our problem. We want maximum output with minimum to no input. Can we put that up? Please, please, please put that up. Help me, the fast typer. We, as a people, want maximum output with minimum or no input. Can we put that up? Because I want to put it up there, because it's the answer to his question. We're having a real talk. Let's have a real talk. Where's the fast typers at this morning? They all going? Good. Thanks, Jennifer. We as a people want maximum output with minimum or no input. Can we copy that? Can we copy that and paste that? Because we need it in our mind and it applies to us. So we want schools, we want businesses, we want classes, we want community, we want our own land, we want all this stuff. but we don't want to donate time or money to do none of that. How is it going to occur? You want all this stuff. We need classes. We need learn all this stuff. We need somebody be in there, and we need, but you don't want to support it. How? How is it going to occur? Hey, 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 hey! We live in America. Everything in America costs money. There's no such thing as free in America. Somebody is paying. Even for the stuff you get for free, somebody is paying. Count on it. There's nothing free in America. I want to ask a serious question. Do we realize there's nothing free in America? Do we realize that? Do we seriously? I'm not being sarcastic. Do we realize, especially us, do we realize there's nothing free in America? Do we realize that? Whatever you think is free, somebody is paying for that. Even if it appears free to you, somebody's paying. It's not free. When y'all come here and class is available and we have the food, all these meals and the teachers, somebody's paying for that. It's just not you. Somebody's paying for that. When you eat those food and you like, y'all come here and it's all laid out and you got food and class and microphones and speakers and electric and gas and bills and water and the teacher, somebody is paying for that. It's not free. When you come to Jumu'ah and you see the imam on the minbar and the microphone work and the lights is on and the rug is, and somebody's paying for that. Even if it's not you. You follow? So if we want all those things, you have to do some input because that's all output. But if the output is greater than the input, that's why I say use our brains, what's bound to happen? If the output is greater than the input, what's bound to eventually happen? That's a question. Come on, help me out. Engage. The output exceeds the input. What's bound to happen? You said it, Habib. Do we really realize that? And what has been happening to us? Failure. And what we just do is we settle for failure and make an excuse for the failure. But really, the failure is often because you didn't put enough input. You just output, outgoing, 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 no incoming. So that's a long answer to your question. I would love to spend my whole day teaching and educating and building, but that costs money. And I don't have that kind of money. I'm rather poor. So I can't do it. Right? I can't. Now, if you want to help me, that's why we always put up these links, right? That's why we put up the links. That's why we do this. That's why we talk about donating. So we can keep doing it. So we can have maximum output that's sustainable, not maximum output so I burn out and be like, where's Imam Amin? He's sleeping. Because you didn't support him, he got to do it all by himself. And he got to do this, and he got to do that, and he going to sleep. He can't get up. He tired. He tired. That's it. And he pushed his engine as far as it can go. It stops right here. He's going to go lay down. That's it. And you got to wait to input in terms of sleep or rest or food or drink. And then when he gets some more energy, he'll come back. That's life. Whether I like it or not, all of us are the same. You can't just keep working without input. Output needs input, or you're going to burn out. So, my idea is to have teachers, to have help, to have support, but that costs money because everyone's not going to do for free just so you can have output. Everybody not going to do that. And in my experience, most people not going to do that. I'm just down, don't worry about it. Nah. I need some falus, please, falus. That's what I hear all the time. Rarely do I hear, don't worry, man, what you need, I'll do it. And as much as you need, I'll do it. La, I need falus, please, pay. Falus. Remind me of that African guy going around the Kaaba. Falus. Yeah, Allah, falus. And the guy goes, what about maghfirah? What about rahmah? What about, tawbah? No, falus. No, we need falus. It's real. But we'll say, stop begging. Okay, you stop begging. Stop begging for somebody to teach you for free. Stop begging for somebody to build institutions that you don't want to pay for. Since you're telling them stop begging, why don't you stop begging? Then we all equal. Nobody's begging. And we don't have nothing, right? Because nobody wants to beg, right? And that's what you call it. I don't call it that, but that's what people call it. Okay, so let's not have nothing and call it a day. Pray in our homes. Matter of fact, pray outside. We don't even need a building at all. We have class under the tree. And they're going to charge us for that. Trust me, in America. Why are you having that class in the tree? You need to go pay a registration fee and you need a permit, and that costs this much so you can have your class under the tree because that's city property. Nothing is free. Even that stuff you on the park, they're going to find a way to tax you on that. So we got to be real with ourselves, right? So the answer to your question, my brother, is I have plenty of plans, but right now, unfortunately, the money don't match the plans. But if we were generous enough and trust us enough, I live the way I talk. The more support I get, the more I can do. So to help me get there, to help us get there, these are all ways you can donate. And donate a lot so we can get it done. I have huge ideas, but we got to pay for those ideas. And I myself, I'm at high levels of output. I don't know how much more I can actually do. There is more I can do. I don't doubt that. But if you got to know me, I'm on high level of output, almost dangerous levels of output. Seriously. Like most people tell me, slow down, who know me. I'm at high levels of output. So maybe if we got more people to input, I could take my levels down and be more sustainable. And y'all have been around for years. Haven't you seen me conk out? Boom, done, finish. Can't do it no more. You gotta wait, gotta recharge. That's because it's output, not enough input. May Allah grant us the understanding of these realities. Would dropping arrogance make room for growth or a greater aptitude in learning? Of course. Just saying I don't know and being comfortable with that would help that. You don't really got to be arrogant just to be able to say I don't know. You know the first lesson I learned when we was learning? Kalimatul la a'lam nisfuddin. The word I don't know is half the religion. That's it. It's okay. Some stuff you don't know. Some stuff you only know a part of it, not all of it. So admit to the part that I don't know to the part you don't know. That doesn't mean you don't know everything. It's just some details that you may not know. So I don't know. It's okay. And when we comfortable with that, then we'll learn more, right? Or sometimes I'm mistaken in what I think I know. That's possible. I may be right, I may be wrong. It's possible. I'm not ma'asum, impeccable. Neither are you. So we can make mistakes. And that mistakes is not knowledge, it's a mistake. So we got to learn. So if we're just in the mode of admitting that, it makes it easier to learn. Okay, we're moving down the road. Oh, we already answered that. Okay. Realistically, if we had a community of 100 believers and everyone put $100 a month and everyone gave $50 a month, that's 5 grand a month and 60 grand a year. It can be done. We just don't even sacrifice a small amount. Thus, we have what we see. Nah, Hussein, you preaching to the choir, brother. We got over 100 people here right now, right? Active listeners and passive listeners. We have over 100. But let me tell you, they don't do that at all. No, that doesn't happen. I would love for it to happen because it would facilitate to expand what we're doing. You know the biggest fear for me of this, Hussein? That I have so much that I've acquired that would help our people is going to die with me because we didn't facilitate a sustainable avenue to give or convey what we have. That bothers me. Like what we have available from the routes that I took, we could change the whole game. And I'm talking about with my allies, with the resources at our disposal. I'm talking about just from my side. We could change the game, but it needs support. We could change the game. We could change the whole, because we're doing it. We're doing it now. You are here. Some of you never heard this stuff. Some of you didn't even know that we had it. Some of you actually thought the other's ice is colder than ours. And we have to be servants of others. You didn't realize that we got everything they got. We have it. But the thing is, we don't support our stuff, right? There's nothing others got that we don't have. But the skin color sometimes ain't right. Sometimes that's our problem. It's a mental thing. The skin color ain't right. Seriously. And we don't even realize that's how we think. That Negro possibly can't have it. Why not? We do it in our neighborhoods. Forget Islam. Go in the black community and see all the businesses. Who's doing those businesses? Are they black people? In most of our neighborhoods, there is somebody else of a lighter complexion and a different ethnicity serving our people the stuff they don't even eat. You got the Arab dude selling you fried chicken. He don't even eat that stuff. The Chinese guy or stuff they don't even do selling you cheesesteaks. Philly cheesesteak for you by someone else. And if you who make the Philly cheesesteak, who that's your stuff, you won't even buy it from yourself. This is us. This is a problem. That's why we need the conference, to actually sit down and make us wake up. Malcolm X said something I want to share with you. I think it was profound. Where is it at? It's so profound. See, I found it. Look what Malcolm X said. He said, and I'll take this down. He said, the greatest mistake of the movement, Farouk, Furqan, this is you. The greatest mistake of the movement has been trying to organize a sleeping people around specific goals. You have to wake the people up first, then you'll get action. Let me repeat that. This is Malcolm X, Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz. The greatest mistake of the movement has been trying to organize a sleeping people around specific goals. You have to wake the people up first, then you'll get action. One more time, that's profound. The greatest mistake of the movement has been trying to organize a sleeping people around specific goals. You have to wake the people up first, then you'll get action. Mic drop. Did y'all hear that? That's our problem. We sleep, so we don't do nothing. Do you do something when you sleeping besides sleep? No, you gotta wake up first so you can do something. We sleep. I know what we could do. We've done it. When I'm speaking from experience. I'm never speaking just out my brain. I actually lived the stuff I be talking about. I actually lived it. I've seen what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, I actually lived it and saw it. And I realized what we were missing and why it failed. I studied it. I thought about it. I turned it over. I looked at it. I didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I thought about all this stuff. What do we need? Because I lived it since I was a little kid. I understand. I actually did it. A person said to me the other day, we come from the same background. We were talking about doing something. And he said, I know how to get this money, right? And I know you know how to get this money. I said, yeah, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade us from getting the money like that. Right? But that's us. We know what to do. Now just do that in a halal way. Because you can get the money overnight. But now you done engaged in something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade. So it's going to be a failure. But you do know what to do. Now figure how to do that in a way that Allah accepts. Even if it's a little bit more difficult. Even if it's slower. Do that. Be content with that. The money that we talk about, I used to spend in a day playing around. Not talking about sins. I'm just telling you how easy that is. The money we talk about, I used to spend that money having fun playing basketball shots a day. I understand. You just don't know that. People who know me know that. The money we talking about, we used to stay on the playground and shoot foul shots for that money. In the projects, just shooting. You shoot, I shoot. You miss $100. You shoot, I shoot. I miss $100. We would do that for hours. But that was haram stuff, how we achieved that. But the money we talking about, all of us together, the little kid in the projects used to do that. The young teenager. Just on the playground, shooting basketball shots. It's no money. And all of us together struggle to do something the little kid in the projects would do. That means we sleep. We sleeping. So that means we have the ability. We have the know-how. Because how was that kid, that teenager, figured out how to get that kind of money? Right? How? Something they knew. Because not everybody could do that. Right? So my point is not to praise unlawful stuff. It's to show you we do have the ability. We got to trust one another. And I see the people here. I know daggone well. Some of these guys, if it was somewhere else, I'd be like, yo, guess what? I just A, B, C, they be down in a minute. Right? Down in a minute. But now we talking about strive for the sake of Allah and deen and oh man. But if we talking about other stuff, yo, hook me up. Yo, Sheikh, we got that. Yeah. I'm telling you now something halal. If there's other stuff, it wouldn't even be a hesitation. Where do I sign? On the halal line, that's where you sign, right? I'm just being honest from experience. Now, maybe most of us didn't combine the two, but I know what we could do. I'm not food for 1 minute, right? So what we'll do, since Hussein, where you at? Are you still there? Where you at, Hussein? Did you disappear on me, or you still here? Hussein is gone. Just ask questions and leave. Here's what I say. We put the link. On those links, you have the ability to do all we're talking about. $100 a month, $50 a month, it can be taken automatically. Do it. Stop talking about it. Do it. Right? You do it. And if you do it and you consistent, and I do it and I'm consistent, and the others do it, you'll get what you're talking about. So just do the work. May Allah make it easy for us, inshallah. But even if we don't do it, we're going to do the maximum output we can do. That's it. And inshallah, may Allah make it easy. Right? May Allah send us those dedicated people who understand that we have a job to do and understand the importance of that job. Right? And listen, we outside, as they say. We outside. You can come see what we do. We're not hiding. It's like we actually doing what we're talking about. We're on the ground, outside, all the time. Right? Imam Siraj said something one time, I never forget it, at one of the conferences we had. He said, if you can't see the vision, trust the visionary. If you can't see the vision, trust the visionary. That's what we need to learn to do. Sometimes you ain't that person. Sometimes you need to trust the other person who has the vision. And you need to follow that. I think that's where we at. So may Allah make it easy. I'll continue tomorrow, inshallah. But don't forget what we talked about. Barakallahu bikum wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.